Hey everybody, Striders back with another pre-game analysis. Starting right along, Red Team has a Rumble, Katarina, Ezreal, Soraka, and Ziggs. That's a lot of magic damage. Every single member of their team does some form of magic damage. For the blue team, we have Varus, Irelia, Anivia, Nunu, and Lee Sin. And they're a little bit more well-rounded. So just off team comps alone, I might give it just to the blue team, just based off the champions. That Anivia is just so strong. If played properly, of course. But starting with the Rumble, the two top champions, it's going to be Rumble versus Irelia. Rumble mains top, Irelia also mains top. Rumble has played about 70 games with him at a 60% win ratio, and Irelia has played about 80 games with a 62% win ratio. So I'm going to go ahead and give that advantage to the Irelia. Very close. It could go either way. With that type of win ratio and that much experience on both those champions, that it's really hard to tell the difference, but I am going to give it to the Irelia for sure. As far as mid goes, it's going to be Ziggs versus Anivia. And Ziggs does a lot more spamming than Anivia. Anivia's spells are a little bit too slow, I think. And she's also a slow-moving champion. Ziggs is a skill shot champion. That's not going to be good for her. Ziggs mains support, while Anivia mains AD carry. Anivia's played it her 6 times and only won once, so it's 16% win ratio. Ziggs has only played 6 times at a 33% win ratio, so that could go either way, but I'm going to give it to the Ziggs just for the sheer fact that of all those reasons I gave earlier. As for the jungler, it's going to be Lee Sin versus Katarina. Katarina mains caster, while Lee Sin mains jungle. So that's going to be a big difference right there. And Katarina's only been played 14 times by this person at a 35.71% win ratio. And that's pretty low. The Lee Sin has been played almost 130 times at a 47% win ratio. And that's actually pretty low for a Lee Sin. Usually I see Lee Sins at around 60%, like high 50, like 55 to 60% usually. So I'm not sure, but he does main the jungle, so he probably has a much better understanding of how to jungle, and he obviously has more experience with that particular champion than the Katarina. I also feel that Lee Sin is a much stronger ganker. So I'm going to go ahead and give the jungle to the Lee Sin, as well as probably the early game to the blue team. Bottom lane is going to be a combination of Ezreal and Soraka versus Varus Nunu. And Varus Nunu is a fantastic combo just because the Blood Boil and Varus passive with those blood leechy looking things. I forgot what they're called, I have no idea, I just completely spaced out. But Varus has only played him, does main AD carry, but only played him 11 times at a 36% win ratio. Ezreal mains support, but also played Ezreal 43 times at a 72% win ratio. So that's actually really good for a support player to be that extensive with Ezreal, being really high win percentage and a decent amount of experience in ranked games as well. So I'll probably give just flat farming over to the Ezreal. That's going to be a really interesting match. As far as the Nunu versus Soraka, Nunu mains top, has played Nunu about 15 times at a 56% win ratio. Soraka has been played almost 40 times at a 65% win ratio. So I'm going to go ahead and give the bottom lane to the Ezreal-Soraka combo. I just feel that that's going to be overall much more powerful. Ezreal does have that blink to close the gap or get over Anivia's wall if he gets caught out of position, something like that. So it should be interesting. It's going to be a pretty close game, but overall I think I'm going to give it to the red team. If you add up all their wins and losses, it's going to be a 61.73% chance of the red team winning and a 51.46% chance for the blue team of winning. So the favor is definitely in the red team's hands as far as the numbers go, and in my opinion it looks like they just have more experience with those champions that they play, and I'm pretty confident that the red team will come up ahead. So let's go ahead and get in the game and find out what happens. Hey everybody, Striders back with another daily high ELO casting, and we have more Katarina gameplay. I'm really excited about that. I know Katarina, obviously with her Shrimpo, provides her a lot of mobility to kind of get around Anivia, but she is ganking, she is jungling, so she'll actually be ganking instead of her mid lane, which she used to do. So I'm not exactly... Oh, now we are. Ziggs is going mid. Ziggs is going to be pretty powerful. He has a lot of long-range spells. Anivia is one of the slowest champions in the game. She kind of has a large hitbox as well. So Ziggs is probably going to be able to nail her with quite a few of those spells. Varus is an interesting pick. He does have quite a nice range. His poke is longer than Ezreal's, but it causes him to move really slow. So with Nunu's Blood Boil, it might actually help quite a bit. I never really thought about that combo. It's also really good to stack up his passive and get a spell off to do that bonus damage. Nunu Varus is actually a really good combo, and Lee Sin, of course, just an amazingly powerful ganker. With the combination of Irelia, they're going to be able to dash onto people without any problems and kind of keep them away from the Anivia and the Varus. And even if they do kind of get close, there's a lot of slows coming down from the blue team. The red team, however, they have a couple blinks, not a lot, just 2. But Soraka is going to be able to silence people, and if she can keep that Anivia silenced, that's going to be detrimental to the blue team. It's going to be difficult to get in there, especially just to go right onto the Anivia. I'm a little bit worried about that in that case, but she will be able to provide Ziggs with the mana because he's very mana hungry, especially early on in the game. So it's not going to affect it too much, but later on in the game when they go into team fights, she'll be able to provide him with that extra mana. Rumble going against Irelia, it's kind of give or a take. It's pretty much even. It just depends on how each of them play. Which I guess you could kind of say is true for everything, but I think Lee Sin's more of a powerful ganker than Katarina. I think he'll probably show himself a little bit more frequently in lane, but Rumble's an incredibly powerful laner, so I don't know how well he's actually going to do himself. I'm a little bit worried for that, but we'll see how it turns out. So now that we're in the game, Anivia is actually starting out with some AP, which is pretty interesting for Anivia's because most of them don't. She does have 350 movement speed with those boots and 3 pots, so I think she is spec'd into utility with the extra movement speed instead of the mana regen that a lot of Anivias like to do. I think she noticed that she will have to get away from this team because this is going to be a really, really dangerous team. If Anivia gets egged, she's dead. Rumble's just too good at like constant DPS. It's just not going to happen. The bad thing about Soraka's passive right now is that she kind of has to be... Oh no, well she increases magic resist. They don't have too many long range spells. I mean, it will help with the Anivia. Definitely help with the Anivia. But besides that, it's not going to provide too much help. And blue team's actually going to go back, but they are going to ward the blue buff. Red team does not want to engage at all against this team. And again, they're a really powerful team with that many slows. A little mini stun there, a little mini stun there. But, I mean, Lee Sin is a really great gap closer if he starts out with his Sonic Wave first. He did go with his Tempest and Cripple like most of them do, but... and it also looks like there's just going to be a taunting match. I wonder who won. Who won the taunting match? Really early leash. Katarina actually leashes for herself and just asks for extra damage. Oh, and Ziggs sorry. Or no, Ziggs, yes, sorry. I always get confused with TD Zig and then Ziggs, the champion. I don't think you should be able to name champions after players, or players after champions. But Katarina is being able to take this buff really, really quickly. She actually doesn't even have to smite, which is very impressive. Lee Sin is still quite a bit ahead, but he did use his smite. Katarina's going to be able to take Wraith down like a freaking champ. Her Wraith clearing is ridiculously fast. She just has that, both those AoE spells. She's going directly for red buff though, it looks like. That's going to be really powerful for her. She does have that smite, so she's going to be able to do that pretty easily. Really, it's just kind of auto-attacking Rumble as much as possible. Rumble started off with the Electro Harpoon, and he's also just auto-attacking Irelia as much as possible. Katarina picking up a really early double buff, and I don't know if she's going to go directly into here, try to force a flash onto the Anivia or not. She looks like she really wants to kill those Rays first, and I'm interested why she's not ganking right now. That's 2 really early buffs. and she's level 3. I don't know if she'll get level 4 off the wolves, to be honest. I don't think she will, but I could be mistaken. I'm pretty sure she won't, but yeah, she didn't. Yeah, I don't know why she's not ganking. That's really, but Lee Sin is now in her jungle. They do miss each other, doing a little ring around the rosy, around that pit, and now Lee Sin's coming behind Ziggs, gonna try to do it. Yes, he does land Sonic Wave, gets up a little bit of damage, gets slowed, and the stun from Anivia going off, and Ziggs is at a little bit lower than half health. In the meantime, Soraka goes really, really far down. Oh, and Varus doing a lot of damage with his hail of arrows, which is pretty surprising. And oh, Ezreal uses Arcane Shift just to barely get out of that piercing arrow. So wonderful play by him. Katarina looks like she went up top, but wasn't really able to pull off any major ganks like he really wanted her to do. And now the auto attacks from Ziggs are really proving to be too much. The passive on Ziggs is just super, super powerful. And now Kat coming out, they are able to egg her right away. And yes, Ziggs is able to pick up, actually Katarina picks up the kill, taking it from Ziggs. Don't know if that was the best plan out. It might have been Red Buff that did it, but it was, either way, it was really great job by the red team being able to pick up that first blood on the Anivia. If Anivia can't farm, it's going to be really bad times for her. Right now she's only 7 creeps behind, but she's also an assist behind, and that's going to be a little bit worrisome for her. But once she hits 6, it could drastically change. Then again, Ziggs has his ultimate, which is incredibly powerful, especially against slow champions. And Katarina coming up here, she does still have that red buff. She's doing quite a bit of damage. She's going to have to back off, and so is Rumble. But that Scrap Shield is going to expire right before he takes Tower Shots. It's going to go directly to his health pool instead of being absorbed by that shield. That's the unfortunate part. Scrap Shield just doesn't last very long. It's good that it doesn't, because if it lasted longer, it would be completely broken if it's not already broken. But and Ezreal is just massively applying on as much damage as possible. He has 1 level in each spell right now, so that's pretty good from him. Oh, Lee Sin coming down, does the safeguard. Now the Tempest and the Cripple, and with the exhaust, he's going to be able to pick up the kill on the Rumble. Great job by Lee Sin being able to save the Irelia. Really baited out her low health, and luckily for them, there's no junglers in sight. But yeah, Lee Sin doing an absolutely wonderful job. And it was already at the tower. Wow. Okay, so they were just being really aggressive. Rumble was being super aggressive. He looked like he might have just gotten a little bit too overconfident. Anivia is taking a lot of damage already. She just came back to lane after that death. She was a level behind, but just even that up. And now Katarina's going for the wraiths. So counter jungling with Katarina is pretty risky. She's able to get away, especially if she has a ward, but it's still pretty risky. She's able to AoE wave clear very quickly, so counter jungling wraiths is probably her best and only option. I would probably say maybe wolves, but you don't typically counter jungle wolves. It's that's a little bit too much at times, because it's really deep into their jungle if you do that. As far as mid lane goes, Anivia is finally able to get back to her full health after using those health potions once again. Ziggs has 2 more health potions just in case, but neither of the champions actually bought wards when they went back. So I'm a little concerned for them. Lee Sin is in this bush waiting for him to push out just a little bit. Yes, and the overheat coming up, but he's going to back off. He's just going to lay down as much Flame Spitter damage as he can onto that Irelia, but it's not really going to do too much outside of that. And now, yes, he's going on really hard. He's able to get the stun, and now the Tempest with the Cripple coming out, and the Equalizer now going down. The Dragon's Kick coming on to Rumble into that wall, right into Irelia. Irelia is able to pick up the kill, and now Ezreal's exhausted. He's running back from this fight, and Soraka's going to be able to heal just a little bit. She only has 1 stack on her. I don't think that Piercing Arrow is going to do anything. Varus is not quite level 6. He's not going to be able to get his ultimate off, so that Chain of Corruption would have been very, very, very good there, but unfortunately it was not available at the time. And wow, Varus did a lot of really great exchange there. He was a little bit lower in health at the time, but Soraka's going to be able to just pump up that Ezreal as much as possible. And the Piercing Arrow coming out, he's just going to keep farming, do as much damage as he can. Ezreal's pretty good at farming at the tower, so it's not going to be too much of a deal. But Varus with the Blood Boil is just doing a lot of work. They're going to be able to farm pretty easily with the combination of those two, as well as the Piercing Arrows. Piercing Arrow going to actually go out? It does go out, and it does hit Ezreal. Great job. It's going to force Soraka to do a little bit of healing as well. She does have that mana regen, so it's not going to be too bad. She has a Philosopher's Stone. The only downside about Soraka is that she doesn't have the movement speed like Janna does. So going no boots is very, very dangerous. Now Katarina's coming out. She's gonna Shumpo to that ward in the back. Great job by her. She is level 6. She's not going in, which is very scary. Ziggs is coming down, does throw down the ultimate, and now Katarina's coming down a little bit too late. Ziggs got spotted out by this ward. I don't know if Katarina did. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. No, Katarina did not get spotted out by that ward, so great ward placement by her. And now, Lee Sin's coming in again, the Equalizer coming out, and he is going to be able to land the Sonic Wave with the Resonating Strike. Great job picking up the kill on the Rumble once again, and Rumble is 0-3. Not good for Rumble. He has only gotten Amplifying Tome. He's 36 CS versus Airelia's 43. She's actually not as far ahead as I thought she would be. She does have a kill and 2 assists, which helps us significantly, of course. But now it looks like Red Team was going for Dragon, but Katarina just could not tank that anymore. It was just doing way too much damage to her. She was just kind of running back and forth. Ziggs throwing out as much damage as it can. The Sonic Wave coming out. Throws down his little tiny satchel charge, but notices that Lee Sin isn't going to actually go in on him. And that's one of the great things about Ziggs. He does have the satchel charge that will kind of knock somebody back and knock you further away. It's a really great disengage, like a little mini disengage for the Lee Sin, especially because if he decides to get to you with that Resonating Strike, you can just kind of throw a satchel charge right below you. Once he gets on you, he just satchel charge, and you have quite a nice little gap there after that point. So I think that's actually a really good pick against the Lee Sin. I haven't really thought of it that way, and I don't think many people do. Ziggs is very underplayed. He had a lot of mana issues when he first got introduced to the league. And so I think that's one of the main reasons why a lot of people do not play him, is because of that. And now Ziggs is throwing out as much spells as he can. Anivia is running pretty low on mana, but Lee Sin is finally going to back off and let him roam free. But it's going to give Anivia a little bit of chance just to kind of farm. And it's a very little chance. But she did get a little bit up, and her mana is getting quite a bit up there, thanks to the contributions of that blue golem. And now the blue team's actually going after golems. Usually you don't see many bottom lanes go golems unless their bottom tower is dead, and their bottom tower is at full health. I think they're just really worried about that Katarina, and that is definitely not something to be underestimated. Katarina is incredibly strong still, even after her remake. Just because she does have quite a few AoE spells. The ultimate from Ezreal actually missing. Now Lee Sin's coming down, misses that Sonic Wave, and now the cleanse coming out from Ezreal, but then he gets exhausted really closely after, and silenced by Soraka. He's gonna Dragon Kick her into the wall, and she is going to wish, but she's ignited, and Ice Blast cleans her up for the kill. So Nunu, Varus, and Lee Sin all getting contributions to the kill. Rumble's pretty close to dying to this Irelia. I don't know if she's going to actually charge in on him. Yeah, she did actually tank a couple tower shots because the ignite damage was going on to him. So great job. He is going to have to use his Equalizer to kind of back off that minion wave, and I don't know if that was the best move. Katarina is now coming out. She does have her ultimate, but the great stun as well as the Hex Drinker proc is really going to help, and she's still going to go down. Yes, the ultimate... Or sorry, not the ultimate. The ignite plus the Shumpo, or sorry, the Sinister Steel. There we go. The Shumpo with the combination of the ignite, the Sinister Steel is going to be able to pick up that kill, and then she's just going to Shumpo to safety after she takes a couple of tower shots. A tower shot, rather. And Rumble's just going to do as much farming as he can. He is behind in this lane. He's about 15 behind at this point. He really needs to catch up. He's still really low on health, even with that gank. Lee Sin's really going to have to come in here. Going to be able to pick up some of these creep kills. Just kind of farm at the tower, wait for Irelia to come back. But a lot of damage going on to the Anivia. She almost goes down from another gank coming out from Katarina. So great job by Katarina. Once she has that red buff, it's terrifying for her to gank. She just does that instant blink to you, slows you down, and then starts her ultimate. It's so scary. So I don't know how Anivia is going to be able to deal with that later on in the game. I mean, she does have that steal, or the stun. It's going to take a little bit of time for her to realize that Katarina's ulting, and then she'll have to aim it up perfectly and then launch it. And it's a really slow-moving particle, so that's another thing that I'm kind of worried about. Katarina's just kind of hanging out mid. Both junglers are in mid, actually. And a nice stun. Flash Frost coming out from Anivia. Followed up with their ultimate. And the hate spike coming out from that spike. Because everybody loves a hate spike. Frostbite's an incredibly powerful spell. Anytime anybody's affected by her frost abilities, it's going to do double damage. And so it has a 0.5 AP scaling ratio. So double that, and it actually has a 1-to-1 AP ratio as long as they're chilled. And that is terrifying, because it just does so much damage. Now let's see, blue team is pinging this tower, so I don't know if Anivia is planning on roaming soon, or what exactly is happening. I don't know if Lee Sin was just telling her to back it off a bit. But now the blue buff, it looks like it's going on to Ziggs. Ziggs doesn't have any mana, but he did see Lee Sin coming in there, but Lee Sin didn't see the blue buff. Very fortunate. Ziggs is going to go back, realize that Lee Sin backed off, but he is going to need help. He's going to need that mana, and possibly a leash from Soraka, but no, he's going to back off. He's just too low health, and he's losing a lot of experience as well as gold from the minions. Katarina's just continuing to farm. She hasn't shown a huge lane presence. She was able to help, or she was able to pick up that first blood, which of course is incredibly powerful. She is the only kills in the team, which shows that she is doing something right, at least. But jungle Katarina is incredibly strong. She's only 6 kills ahead of the Lee Sin. She has 2 kills, but Lee Sin has 2 kills and 2 assists, plus additional farm. The exhaust coming out from Ezreal. Ezreal is going to cleanse that, and now the resonating strike, and Ziggs misses ultimate completely. Ezreal throws down his ultimate. Doesn't really hit anybody, and Soraka also goes down. Ziggs threw down his ultimate earlier and whiffed everybody. They just weren't able to shift it. Now Katarina's going in with her ultimate, doing a lot of damage. Oh my gosh, a chain of corruption just absolutely blew her up. And now a great stun coming out from Anivia, and Ziggs had to flash over that wall in order to survive. They decided not to tower dive. It looks like Anivia might, but she is taking tower shots. And yes, wow, a lot of damage. Yes, Anivia's going to pick up that kill. Ziggs just kind of ran right into that. That is not good times for the Ziggs. And blue team is going on to this dragon. Going to be leashed by the Nunu. It's going to definitely help Nunu. And with the attack speed buff from that Blood Boil onto the Lee Sin, he's going to be able to attack super fast, as well as gain the health that he was losing from Wriggles. And a double ward coming out from the blue team right there. So again, it's typical solo queue stuff. You don't have the communication you normally would if everybody's on Skype or closed channel chat or something like that. So you will get those double wards from time to time. It's not frequent that it happens, but it does happen. Lee Sin is just tearing it up right now. He's 3-0-5, doing a beautiful job. Varus is 2-0-2 with 124 CS versus Ezreal 0-1-0 with 110 CS. So Varus is extremely ahead in gold. He almost has an Infinity Edge. I would assume that's what he's going for, unless it's a Bloodthirster, which would still kind of be weird. He relies a little bit too much on abilities to really go for a Bloodthirster is the only thing, and he doesn't really scale, like he doesn't have abilities that really scale with the attack damage. So it's not, well, I guess he does have the piercing arrow. Oh, and the hail arrow is just AD as well. I take that whole comment back. So I really don't know what he's going to buy. He could go for that Bloodthirster for the extra just flat damage so he can do more harassing and more poking. In the meantime, blue team does pick up the first tower of the game from the red team, and that is going to provide them with a lot more lane control or dragon control as well. And I'm worried to see what the red team is going to do in this situation. I don't know if they're going to try to, and a flash coming out from Mumble, being forced out from Irelia. Great safeguard coming from Lee Sin, just being able to really force that flash. Lee Sin's just been applying so much pressure top, it's hard to say what's going to happen. And the Hail Arrows is really good against the Soraka because it prevents her healing. And the Chain of Corruption going down actually snares both of them. So great Chain of Corruption coming out. And Soraka's super low as well as Ezreal. She decides to do it herself. And there's no CC with the blue team besides slow. So Katarina's just going to come in. And yes, she's not going to be able to follow up the Ice Blast, just proving to be too much. Yeah, she isn't going to end up backing up. And now Rumble going directly onto the Ziggs. He gets Dragon Kick back. Is Ziggs going to be able to make it out of this? He dodges the Sonic Wave, so he can't Resonate Strike. And yes, a great Satchel Charge coming out. Going to be able to jump him away towards the tower, provide him with that extra safety, as well as putting some distance on the Lee Sin as far as getting away from him. Because Lee Sin, in all reality, could have dove that if he didn't get knocked back. So let's see what we can find out about the gold. So I think Varus is probably in the lead. Yeah, Varus has 6,100 gold, and the #1 person on the red team actually only has 4,500 or 4,600, and that's not good. Because being 1,500 gold behind their 80 carry, oh my gosh, 80 carries are so essential in this game, and there's a specific reason why you put them bottom with the support. Not only do they need the support, but it basically guarantees farm.
Laying an egg isn't as easy as it looks.
It's much harder to zone out 2 champions than it is just to zone out 1. And that's why a lot of the AD champions just go bottom with the support. That's kind of how the metagame evolved into that. Again, Katarina's just kind of going back to the jungle. If we take a look at the builds here, still with the Hex Drinker and the Wit's End now coming out from Irelia. Irelia's really going for that magic resist. And now great initiation, but a Satchel Charge is going to be able to close that distance. The Resonating Strike does miss. Very unfortunate. Sonic Wave misses, so he can't Resonating Strike anyway. Ziggs just throwing as many spells as he can. He doesn't have blue buff, so it may not be the most optimal thing since it didn't really do any damage. And yes, finally was able to get a little bit of damage onto that Anivia. Anivia's just going to kind of hang out in that brush. And he has a Satchel Charge coming out, knocking her into a wall. And she also throws a ward over this wall. So they have their race pretty much completely locked down. It's going to be very difficult for the red team to gank from that Wraiths area, which is one of the most common areas. Oh, and a lot of damage coming out from Anivia, and forces Ziggs to actually flash, which is not good times. Exhaust now coming on to Katarina. Katarina gets Dragon Kicked, and now a ton of damage going down from the Anivia. The ultimate from Ziggs does go down once again, but it does miss everybody once again. Highly unfortunate that Ziggs is just not quite landing his ultimate, and that's going to be very useful later on in the game. And the Varus just doing so much work, especially with the slow from the Hail of Arrows, with in conjunction with that Blood Boil, giving him more attack speed, as just everything. The more attack speed, more movement speed. This Blood Boil is phenomenal. And now, the exhaust coming down from the back end. The Chain of Corruption now coming out from the Ezreal, but it's not going to be enough. Soraka's all very slow, gets knocked out, and a double kill. Now going down for that Lee Sin. Lee Sin's so powerful. He's definitely making a stance here. Unfortunately, the Empire did not work. So Nunu went for kind of like a lane. Oh, that's a surrender row. I did not see that coming. I guess I probably should have since it was 11-2, but I didn't see it coming. It kind of threw me off guard. I thought my mouse was overway on the other side of the screen. I'm like, wait a second. But yeah, overall, that was an interesting game to say the least. I really thought that the Varus Nunu combo was a wonderful combo, and it did show. He was 2-0-4. Lee Sin, a much heavier ganker, and that also showed in his score. I think the Ziggs could have done a little bit more roaming / ganking. That's probably what I would like to see him improve on next. Ezreal was pretty standard. You know, he did what he could, but he was just put in a lot of really bad situations. But I'm kind of surprised their bottom lane died so much. They had 5 deaths in 21 minutes with a Soraka and an Ezreal. I mean, Ezreal's super long range poke, like single target, really easy to farm without the tower. If you're going against like an aggressive lane like a Nunu Varus, it might just be better to hang out at the tower and kind of last hit when you need to. Besides the point, congratulations to the yellow team, GG to the red team. And again, if you guys like my videos, make sure to hit that like button. Hit the big giant subscribe button here in the center. You can view any of my next videos here if I have any at the time, or you can go to my previous videos up here. But thanks for watching, and I'll see if I can get out another video since this one is pretty short, and I like to give you guys like closer games or other champions. So I will see what I can do, and I'll see you guys in a bit.